Welcome to Weirdstale.
Are you a weirdster like us?
Do you love the paranormal, true crime, mysteries, and stories of the just plain weird?
We're sisters, Melissa.
And Stephanie.
One of us is obsessed with telling the other every weird story she can find. Every week on our show, Weirdstale, we have a story that's sure to leave you wondering.
You might even let out a welp.
Join us in Weirdstale every Thursday for a new episode of Sisters Speculating on the Strange.
Find us in your podcast app and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Weirdstale Podcast.
And TikTok at Weirdstale Pod.
What's weird with you?
I'm Felicia.
And I'm Ian.
And we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of The Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us for another week, episode 88. 88?
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And it's also, I keep thinking, why is it such a special number? Probably because how Sage Nana was when she died.
Double eights.
88? I feel like it's like special. But I could just be being weird. I'm
What is
probably
it?
just being weird because
It's like the crazy 88s.
Crazy Eights.
Crazy 88s.
I don't know the Crazy 88s. I know the
It's from Kill Bill. It's the gang in Kill Bill. Like they had it's like the Axe gang or whatever.
I've never seen Kill Bill.
Wow.
Never seen. Sorry, that movie came out a while ago and I was a little young for it, okay?
Touche.
I was thinking of Crazy Eights, the card game.
Yeah. They might have got it from that.
Maybe. All right. If you would please be so kind, give us a follow and share on social media, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as YouTube. You can find us by searching for the Paranormal Lovers in the search bar. You can also send us a nifty little message on Spotify, which is a cool little feature. I enjoy getting those. Also, thank you, Chrissy. And we actually got another message on Spotify the other day from a fan. It wasn't like the fan mail. It was like, what did you think about this episode? The comments.
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting comments. So you guys comment on it too. That's just like so cool.
That is cool.
If you are a fan of history, you can find our new show, Rethinking Our History, on all the same platforms as this show. In that show, we're looking at events and people throughout our history that the books have left out. If you would like some merch, head on over to theparanormallovers.threadless.com to get in on some merch. We have a sale going on for $13 t-shirts that started Monday and will run through Friday the 27th.
$13 shirts.
$13 shirts. And it's like right at the end of September. New fall Halloween collections are getting ready to come out. Get you some of them summer collections before they're gone. They're going to be gone, y'all.
Yeah,
they're
going to disappear.
They're gone. Y'all got 10 days. Well, from today, you got like 5. So go get you some.
Get that flash sale.
Mm-hmm. If you would like to be a regular supporter and get some stickers each month, we have a Patreon. We have one $5 tier where you get early access to unedited videos of both shows. So have fun with that. As well as 2 stickers each month. One from the shop, one handmade by Ian. Hang on, guys. All right.
Top of that. No, wait.
Handmade by Ian.
I can't do that. I can't say that.
No, I don't know.
That is not ours.
No. And if you have a personal story you would like read on a future episode of the Paranormal Personals, have a topic request, or just want to yell at us for our super liberal views, email us at theparanormallovers@yahoo.com. And you better specify if you're yelling at me from TPL or from ROH, because if you're yelling at me from ROH, I'll fight you.
Yeah, you'll get the history girl.
You get to history.
History girl's different from paranormal girl.
History girl's very different from paranormal girl. I'm telling you right now. History Felicia is a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's people that are like, you're a bitch on this too. What do you think you're talking about? No, y'all don't even know. All right, so this week we're going to go.
Also, send me some votes for Face of Horror.
Face of Horror. Vote on Face of Horror. What did you love about this week? I left that out. Oops.
Dang, I didn't even think about it this week.
Not much. You just worked all week.
The yard looks spooky. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it does look spooky. There's
You guys did a good
leaves.
job, like decorating.
We got all of our little ghosties hanging from the trees.
It's getting me in the mood.
It is. I'm ready for it. I
love Halloween. It's my favorite time of the year.
It's a wonderful time of the year.
Yeah. What did you love about this week, baby?
I had something in my head and I forgot.
Oh no!
I got a cricket.
Oh yeah.
I got a cricket.
It's this girl's birthday, so y'all send her some birthday wishes.
Actually, this does come out on my birthday, doesn't it?
Yep.
38.
Happy birthday.
38.
Skip.
Pushing 40.
Skip.
I'm not skipping. Grim can't make me do it. I'm not doing it. All right. So this week we're going to go across the pond to look at a set of islands that have quite the reputation over the years. Today we're going to be looking at the history of the Flannan Isles.
The Flannan Isles?
And the mystery of the missing lighthouse keepers. Flanna. The Flannan Isles are a group of islands, also known as the Seven Hunters, west of the Isle of Lewis, about 32 kilometers or 17.5 nautical miles. It is a part of the Outer Hebrides, a group of islands off of the coast of Scotland. There are many groupings of rocks and small islands throughout this area, roughly 50 hectares or 125 total acres of land. The highest point of all the isles is on the Isle of Eilean Mor, which is the site of our story today. It is thought that roughly 20,000 years ago, the area was covered in ice. Once all of it melted, it is thought that the sea level was around 400 feet or 120 meters lower than it currently is, allowing for more land to be exposed. But due to climate change and the rapid melting of the polar caps, the sea levels have risen, giving us the isles as we know them today. There are 3 ruins on the isles. Elaine Taggy has the ruins of a small stone shelter, and over on Eilean Mor stands the ruins of a chapel as well as the lighthouse that was automated in 1971. No one is quite sure who the church is paying homage to. There are actually quite a few different St. Flannans that it could be, but no one can agree on which one it is because white people and their saints, I guess. It is agreed upon that the Isles are an important bird area as designated by BirdLife International. This is due to the large number of birds that nest on the Isles, including puffins.
Nice.
Fucking love a puffin. Petrels, kittiwakes, and gannets. There are rabbits that were introduced to the Isles by the keepers. Crofters or farmers are known to graze their sheep there, and they call farmers crofters in Scotland, which I think is really cool. But when they come to the island, they do not just land and go about their work. No, you have to walk counter sunset or counterclockwise. I don't know. You have to take your hat off and walk in a certain direction on Eilean Mor when you climb up there. I don't know. Superstitions. I don't know. People have said that the Isles have a disturbing energy to them. Some even say evil. This is not a place that people live. In fact, the only people who have ever lived on the Isles were the lighthouse keepers. 3 years after the lighthouse was approved, construction finally began on December 7th, 1899. They built the 75-foot or 23-meter lighthouse, landing dock, stairs, and railway tracks. It's either 75 feet or 150 foot. I don't know. The railways were utilized to haul supplies to the lighthouse after they were hauled up the 148-foot or 45-meter cliff.
Oof.
They also built homes on the coast of the Isle of Lewis for the keepers' families, which I thought was pretty interesting because a lot of times they will build a house on the island with the lighthouse so their families can live there. Mm-hmm. But I think these guys just lived in the lighthouse.
Right.
It would take 26 years before any communication was put into the lighthouse via wireless telegraphy. In the 60s, the tracks were removed and they began using a cross-country vehicle. This vehicle would become obsolete after a helipad was put in on the Isle. This came after the lighthouse was automated. In December of 1900, 3 men were on duty at the lighthouse: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. A fourth man, Joseph Moore, was the relief keeper and was on shore on the Isle of Lewis at the time of this incident. The first sign that something was wrong came on December 15th, 1900, when the steamer, the Archer, came through and noted the light was not working. This was especially concerning considering the weather conditions. That it was stormy? Some sources say that it was not stormy. I don't know what the fuck was going on then. I don't know. I've literally seen it reported both ways in several sources. So
Right.
one was like, yeah, there was a storm, and another was like, they said there was a storm, but there was no record of a storm. And I'm like, it was the 1900s, y'all. Once they docked in Leith on the 18th, they reported the site to the Northern Lighthouse Board. The relief keeper was set to come out to the Isles on the 20th, but was unable to do so due to the weather. It would take 6 more days for the weather to clear up enough for them to make the journey. On the 26th, when the Hesperus arrived at the island, there were immediate signs that something was wrong. For one, there was no flag on the flagpole. On the landing dock, there were no boxes waiting to be loaded up and replenished, and none of the 3 keepers were visible on the island to anyone on the ship. Jim Harvey, the captain, attempted to get someone's attention by firing off a flare and blowing the horn of his ship, but not a soul moved on the island. Moore, the relief keeper, was sent out on a boat to the isle alone to check out the house. When he arrived to the property, the gate and the front door were both closed. When he went inside, he noticed the beds were unmade and that the clock had stopped. Moore left the lighthouse to report what he had found and returned with 2 of the crew from the ship. Upon further investigation, they found the lamps cleaned and refilled and only oil skins or a long coat coated in oil to make them waterproof. Some sources claim that there was an overturned chair and uneaten food in the kitchen, but allegedly Moore stated that the kitchen had been cleaned up and that all the utensils were clean. Moore and a few other volunteers stayed on the Isle while Captain Harvey headed back to Lewis to send word of what had been found. In a message to the Northern Lighthouse Board, quote, "A dreadful accident has happened at the Flannans. The 3 keepers, Ducat, Marshall, and the occasional," which that's what they called MacArthur, I don't know why, had disappeared from the island. The clocks were stopped and other signs indicated that the accident must have blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane. Or that the accident must have been blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane, end quote. Which, it's possible. It's possible. Back on the Isle, the 4 men left, looked everywhere looking for the missing men or any sign of what could have happened to them. At the landing on the eastern side of the Isle, everything looked normal. But over on the western landing, things were a completely different story. At the top of the cliff, over 200 feet or 60 meters above sea level, the grass had been ripped away from the cliff. This extended out 33 feet or 10 meters away from the edge of the cliff.
What the hell?
So like 33 feet away from the edge of it is like somebody had just ripped all the grass off. Just pushed it back.
That's wild.
About halfway down the cliff, there was a box that held equipment like ropes and shit. It had been broken open and all the contents were just thrown all over the place. The iron railings that kept the keepers safe when they're like going around the edge had been twisted and bent over, and the railway had been ripped out of the concrete. And to top it all off, a boulder that weighed over 2,000 pounds had been moved.
What? I mean, seawater can do crazy things, you know, from watching Deadliest Catch. But at the same time, I'm like, it's a kraken.
It's interesting. When Robert Murhead, and superintendent of the NLB who knew the keepers personally, came to investigate, he stated that the damage done to the West Landing was impossible to believe without seeing.
Right.
I put was impossible to see without believing. Was impossible to believe without seeing. It is not known exactly who went out when, but there were clues as to what happened. With the two missing oilskins, they thought that possibly Ducat and Marshall had went to check on things outside, and MacArthur had also left at some point, but only in a shirt. Whomever was in the lighthouse last had broken the rules, as one person was supposed to be manning the lighthouse at all times to keep the light going.
Right.
Murr had concluded, quote, "From evidence which I was able to procure, I was satisfied that the men had been up on duty up till dinner time on Saturday the 15th of December, that they had gone down to secure a box in which the mooring ropes, landing ropes, etc. were kept, and which was secured in a crevice in the rock about 110 feet or 34 meters above sea level, and that an extra large sea had rushed up the face of the rock and had gone above them, coming down with immense force that swept them completely away," end quote.
Must have been a hell of a wave.
Now, this is the official story, but what fun is that on a paranormal podcast?
Right.
Other theories that have been put forth are that a large ocean serpent took the men away. The Kraken.
Cthulhu.
They ran away to start new lives. They had been abducted by spies, or they came under the attack from a boat of ghost.
Wow.
Ghost.
That'd be crazy. Ghost shit.
Now, there is debate on the existence of a logbook that chronicled some disturbing entries. The reason why I say there's debate, because nobody ever heard of this logbook until like the 1970s. There was no evidence.
Documentation.
There was no evidence of this logbook before the 1970s.
Right.
These quote unquote rumors have circulated for decades, while one person did their own investigation for a magazine that stated they were not real. I, for one, don't know, but I'm going to add them here because they do add quite an eerie element to the story. Quote, "They supposedly have Marshall saying on December 12th that there were severe winds the likes of which I have never seen in my 20 years. He also said to have reported that Ducat had been quiet and Donald MacArthur had been crying. Log entries on December 13th were said to have stated that the storm was still raging and all three men had been praying. The final log entry is said to have been made on December 15th, stating, 'Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all,' end quote." Now, to argue against this claim, for one, MacArthur was a veteran who had literally been in war in like the 1800s. This man ain't breaking down because it's raining outside.
Right.
Okay. And as for all of them praying, these are seasoned lighthouse keepers, seasoned Scottish lighthouse keepers,
Aye.
where it just fucking storms like it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, like these dudes aren't all like, "Oh God, it's raining outside." They're just like, "Oh, look at the pretty storm." Like,
Right.
the lighthouse still stands today, so they had to have known that they were safe and secure over 100 feet above sea level.
I wonder if it was a water spout.
That's possible. That's actually, I didn't even think about that.
Like you got like a water spout coming in, then it like touches a little bit of the land and messes things up.
Maybe, but we'll get to something down here in a minute, and you'll have to like Google a picture of it so you'll see what I'm talking about. That makes a little sense on what could have happened. But what's more debunking is that there were no reports of the storms during those days. And like I said, that was like, some sources said there was, some sources said there wasn't. So
Right.
who the fuck knows in December of 1900?
Yeah.
That said, none of us heard of the Bermuda Triangle, the Fae. Like, this is off the coast of Scotland. And I don't think people realize how much energy there is in Scotland.
Sure.
But there's also some geographical elements of the island that could lend to the wave theory.
Yeah.
So the landing on the west side where these men had gone to was in what's called a geo. Just Geo. Geo. This is an inlet or a gully cut into the face of a cliff This particular one ended in the cave, and the water would run into the cave and then explode out.
Yeah.
It is possible that the keeper in the house saw large wave incoming and knowing his friends or his mates were out there trying to secure their equipment, ran out to warn them of the incoming waves and then was swept away as well.
Right.
And if you look at a picture of what the geo is, it's like one of those really cool spots in a coast where like it comes like this, but then it cuts in and there's like just like a big hole, but there's a
Mhm.
very narrow inlet to get into the big hole. And I've seen videos of where the water like rushes in and slams up and sprays up out of that hole. So
that was a CGO.
no, just GEO.
I'm like getting all kinds of weird images for that.
Yeah, do like shit. Coastal Geo, maybe. How did I Google it the other day? I Googled it the other day because I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh yeah, that works.
Okay. So I could kind of see how something could possibly, the water could like rush in there, maybe. I don't know. And then to your theory, if a water spout came in there, where's it going to go?
Yeah.
One final theory about what could have happened comes from the minds of men who were on the Isle. According to some, MacArthur had quite the temper, and it is theorized that he may have gotten into the fight with the other men, which led them all falling into the sea.
Oh,
None of their bodies or any indication they survived has ever been found.
murder.
Y'all forgive him. And that, folks, is the story of the mystery of the Flannan Isles.
Interesting.
What do you think, Bill?
Wow.
What do you think happened to these Scottish housekeepers?
I don't think anybody will ever know.
No, we'll never know. We will never know unless like their bones wash up and somebody does some genealogical DNA testing or something.
Nessie, maybe. I don't know.
Well, she's in a loch. She doesn't live in the ocean.
No, she's not seafaring.
I don't know. I think it is most likely that the men were swept out in a rogue wave with the fact that 2 of the oil skins were gone. And maybe the other guy just like went out to find them and got swept out too. I don't know.
Right.
But it is most likely that's what happened.
Yeah.
That in and of itself feels kind of like fuck around and find out with Mother Nature, if you ask me.
I'm sure.
But with this being a very eerie place that is already known for its dark energy, it is easy to let our imaginations run wild. And maybe there is some truth to both theories. Maybe, just maybe, the spirit of the sea has been angry for a long time and has been killing people for a long time. Y'all forget some of my ancestors chose to die in the ocean versus being in chains. There's some energy in that water.
I'm sure.
All right, guys, let us know what you think down below. You can send us a message. You can comment, come over on Instagram or Facebook. We will respond. We love chatting with you guys.
For sure.
So thanks for joining us for another week of Paranormal Lovers, and we will see you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.